Welcome to another live episode of the Wisco Fanatics Show, where we discuss the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, Badgers football, and basketball from an optimistic perspective. Wisco Fanatics is brought to you by Cardboard Legacy, Wisconsin's most complete sports card shop. Buy, sell, grade, and consign all at their location in Oshkosh.
All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I feel like I haven't been on the show in like 8 days because I haven't. So I was supposed to be back last night. My wife's recovering from surgery. She had last week, so that's why I wasn't here last week. Last night, I was supposed to be here, but I got offered some last-minute Bucks tickets, so went to the Bucks game with the family, got to see the NBA Cup court, which was cool, but we'll talk about the Bucks later. Today, we have a Badgers football preview because Badgers did not play this past weekend. So we have just a preview against Oregon this weekend, hopefully an upset, but we'll talk about that. We also have 2 Badger basketball games to recap, and then Jake and I are going to get into the Bucks. So we're going to start with the Badgers football preview, and we're going to start with the defense against Oregon. So, Mike, what are you looking for from the Badgers defense against Oregon on Saturday night?
First off, I'm looking to see Rico Hallman finally get tested this year. I think it's only a matter of time, before something gets thrown his way. Obviously the big star, I mean, there's a lot of stars, don't get me wrong, on this Oregon team, but the big one, Heisman Trophy winner, Dillon Gabriel, he's got a damn near 2,900 yards passing already, 22 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Without a doubt, this secondary to some extent is going to get tested. So I would say the major call out, and again, there's a lot of weapons across the board, but I think our secondary is just going to need to be on point for this game. I'm hoping maybe Rico can make a big impact. It's going to go into my X factor later on, ties into that. But, I'm just looking to see hopefully a guy like Rico Hallman just have a big night. Guys like Hunter Wohler and Preston Zachman too, even in the secondary, because it's, Dillon Gabriel is going to throw the ball whether we like it or not, even though the secondary is our strength ultimately. We're going to get tested in all phases of the game, but without a doubt, we got to do whatever we can to contain Dillon Gabriel. That's just say a prayer and hope for the best, but that's what I got.
Yeah. Jake, so you have the defensive line. What are you looking for from the Badgers on Saturday against Oregon?
Yeah. So Mike talked about Dillon Gabriel already, and I was kind of hoping that one of you were going to talk about him, right? So I wrote a few things down. We have to stay gap sound, right? Oregon will throw a lot of misdirection at you. They have athletes all over the field. They've been like that for 15 plus years now. They have one of the best quarterback and head coach combos in the country. I don't think enough people are talking about them in that way, in my opinion. And they have athletes everywhere, so they could just do whatever they want. So I found out, and I was looking at it, and I was interested. I was like, wow, they run the ball more than they pass the ball. They run the ball 52% of the time, 47% of the time they pass it. So that's not a huge difference, but it is when you have a quarterback like Dillon Gabriel, right? If you can run the ball, control the clock, and just allow him to kill you down the field, that's how you get a number one ranked team in the country, right? They also convert 51% of their third downs. They're 85% scoring in the red zone, and they average 6.8 yards per play. That would be nice, right? That must be nice. The Wisconsin defense is giving up 5.3 yards per play, 40% on third down, and allow 86.9% in the red zone. So in terms of the D-line, we're going to have to try to bring that yards per play down a little bit. They run the ball more than they pass the ball, so we're going to have to win the line of scrimmage. We're going to have to say fundamentally gap sound. Somebody's going to have to make plays up front all night. Whether it's guys by committee or it's one guy just making plays, we're going to need somebody up front to win their matchup consistently to give us a chance. And it's going to have to be somebody from that's controlling the A gap or B gap, because we're going to have to get pressure on Dillon Gabriel if we have any chance in this game.
Yeah. So from a linebacker perspective, we're going to see who's healthy as when we start to get some practice reports this week. Jake Chaney was kind of banged up. Jaheim Thomas was kind of banged up. Aaron Witt's been kind of banged up. So hopefully everybody's all healthy and good to go, and it's all hands on deck. Jake was bringing up the percentages. Oregon only runs the ball 35 times a game, which, sounds weird to say only, but when you look at the Badgers who are doing it 45, 50 times a game, 35 does seem low to go with 30 passes. Now, 65 plays a game is pretty standard, but the thing is that they have the ability to basically take the ball to the house anytime from any position from any of their players. So looking at it, their number one rusher, his name is Jordan James. He's going to hit 1,000 yards on the season during this game. He's at 946. So he's going to hit 1,000 yards. And then they have a pretty balanced wide receiver group. They have 3 players over 400 yards. And their third wide receiver, Trayshawn Holden, is only 8 yards away from 500. So they essentially have 3 players at 500 yards. And if you add Terrence Ferguson, they essentially have 4 players at 400 receiving yards. So they have a pretty balanced offense.
Yep.
Running, and obviously Dylan Gabriel is going to be a top 5, if not the number 1 pick.
That's fair.
Really all hands on deck as far as the defense is concerned. I'm sure reflecting our predictions, what we view Oregon offense as. And like I said, it's going to be kind of an all hands on deck situation for the Badgers defense. So, Jake, how are you viewing special teams?
Well, special teams, this is going to be one of those games where, and I went back and I thought about that Ohio State game that everybody brings up when David Gilreath, took one to the house. And we're kind of in a situation now with the Badgers where we're going to find out a lot about some people, right? We're going to have some guys playing for pride. We're having guys that are going to be playing for next year, trying to earn their spot for next year already. We are one of those teams, as sad as the state of this team is. And it kind of sucks because I feel like Fickle and company are getting the short end of the stick in a sense. And I don't want to blame Braden Locke for all of it, but I would say most of it is him. You get kind of handicapped in play calling. You get kind of handicapped in situations. You hurt your defense in certain situations. So for special teams, we're going to have to take some chances, guys. We're going to have to return some kicks. We're going to have to return some punts. And sure, you can get burned by that, but would you rather die fighting, or would you rather die just silently, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I'm gonna need everybody to be aggressive. And I'm gonna need us. I don't care if you're 8 fucking yards in the end zone. I'm sorry for cussing. I'm getting fired up now. If you're 8 yards in the goddamn end zone, you run that son of a bitch. And you run like you've never ran before. And I really was thinking about that Ohio State game. Like, dude, if we're going to win this game, if we have any chance in hell to stay close and make this a ball game, because Oregon has been good. They've been wiping the floor with everybody. I mean, the Ohio State game was pretty close, and they had a close game against Boise State earlier in the year. But those are 2 playoff teams right now. They won both those games. The latest poll, I believe, came out last night or 2 days ago, where Boise was number 12 over Georgia, and people are all up in arms about it. But I would say you got to be aggressive, and you just got to go for the jugular. That's what it comes down to.
What it sounds like, and I know this is the way you're saying it, I'm just going to say it a different way, is that at some point you will need a play that jars Oregon into a situation that they're not expecting.
Yeah.
If you give up if Oregon gives up a 6.5 minute touchdown drive that takes 12 plays, that's football. That's not going to shock them.
Yep.
You need something that's going to be, a 108-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. That's going to be like oh shit, like a smack in the mouth type thing. So I get the way that you're talking about special teams with that. I want to flip it to the other side as well, because if you're talking about a team like Oregon, one of the other things that special teams can do to help is field positioning.
Yeah, true.
Now it's important in every game, but you can make things a lot harder on Oregon if you're stalling out on offense, which Oregon only allows 16 points a game. We'll talk about the Badgers offense in a second. But against an Oregon team who obviously is a number 1 team in the country, it's going to make it harder for them to have to score, to go 92 yards to get touchdowns than to have to go 80 yards to get touchdowns, or to have to go 64 yards for a touchdown. If you can pin them deep, inside the 20, inside the 10, that moves the needle. It doesn't move the needle a lot, but when you're talking about an underdog like the Badgers are this weekend, anything that could potentially move the needle, even a smidge, is important.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I believe I saw today, it's our 5th sellout this year, which ties like a school record, I believe. And if you're going against the number 1 team and you get a block punt where the Badgers, you're talking about field position, the Badgers only have to go 20 yards to get a touchdown to pull within, 3 points or something. The crowd can get into it after a block punt. All of a sudden, the team starts feeling that, because these are all young kids, right? That's what makes college football exciting is like the momentum can flip. Like just like that, like a snap of the fingers. One play, and it could just be a landslide. I mean, we've seen it on our side negatively a couple times this year, and it hurts. It sucks, man.
It makes it quiet.
But somebody's got to make a play, man, and that's what it comes down to. A big kick return, a block punt, a blocked extra point, something. We got to get something. Somebody's got to make a play. Somebody's got to step up.
Like I said, it's got to be – there has to be – it's not a secret. Like, if the Badgers are just going to be like, okay, we're just going to play the time of possession game, like, I don't think that's how the Badgers win. Mm-hmm. There's got to be something that, like I said, that shocks Oregon. So as we switch to the offensive side of the ball, Mike, I'll go to you first as far as the running game is concerned, but what are you looking for from the Badgers offense against Oregon?
I mean, I'm going to, quickly go back to, at the end of the day, we have to make plays to keep the crowd in this game as long as we can.
Yep.
There's a reason why Oregon's #1 team in the country, but whether it's special teams, it's defense, offense, which I'm going to talk about in a sec, you have to make some plays to keep this crowd, this sold-out crowd, apparently. We'll see come kickoff if the kids are going to be there in time, and they're out partying and whatnot. But no, you just got to make enough plays. I mean, that Penn State game, we were right there at home, right? I mean, it just took that pick 6 in the second half. Unfortunately, that's when it started to go down a little bit. So if we can get that full sellout crowd there, keep them engaged, that's just going to get the kids all fired up, and hopefully, a couple players out of the woodworks even can step up and make a couple plays and keep us right in this game. But I do think there's still a decent opportunity for us to establish a run against Oregon. It's not necessarily a run stop, so to speak, because I mean, you take a look at the Boise State game, for example. Boise State ran for over 200 plus on these guys. So it's not like it's an impossible task. I know Boise State's got a Heisman Trophy caliber running back, but we're the fucking Wisconsin Badgers, and we should be able to run the ball on anybody that we so choose. Granted, it was a little rough against Iowa, but I'm looking. I've said it for a long time. I would really love Katie Akameli to get out there for a few reps. I know it's probably not going to happen given the Iowa game. He did not get one lick, but I mean, Tommy Walker's going to have his opportunities. If you got to give it to him 20 plus times to open it up a little bit against Oregon, do it. I would also try to keep the Oregon offense off as much as possible too at the end of the day, because they're all about explosive plays. They can score within 30 seconds if they want to, because they got big play receivers all over the place. So if we can keep them tamed as much as we can, maybe bring that time of possession to about even, or even win the time of possession on these guys, and that starts to running the ball, then maybe that'll allow us to stay in the game for 3, hopefully all 4 quarters, as we would like it to be. But there is an opportunity, I think, to find a running game against these guys, but it's it's up to us at the end of the day.
Yeah, Jake, what are you looking for from the offensive line?
Yeah, so honestly, I've talked for basically the entire year how improved the offensive line is. They're much better than they were last year. We got to be able to keep pace with Oregon, right? The Oregon offense puts enough pressure on you alone, thinking as a quarterback, Braden Locke, right? But then going against that defense, the defense is no slouch, man. They've allowed 16.2 points per game. That's number 9 in the country. They allow 302.2 yards a game. That's number 10 in the country. And they allow 125 rush yards per game. That's number 35 in the country. They allow 4.0 yards per rush. I mean, this is a good defense. They allow 4.7 yards per play, only 34% conversion on third downs. And the Badgers are only averaging 5.5 yards a play and 39% on third down. So you're looking at these numbers. They're a lot closer on the Wisconsin offense to the Oregon defense than it is the Oregon offense versus the Wisconsin defense. And I don't like that. Those numbers have to be closer for us to have a chance in this game. Yeah. Locke has to push the ball down the field. Yeah. I don't know if the man is seeing ghosts. I don't know if he's being indecisive. I don't know what's going on with him. But,
I have some exact numbers to explain your point.
I cannot wait for your synopsis, honestly. It's been a long 2 weeks without you, buddy. I haven't done an episode with you in 2 weeks, man. I feel invigorated right now. I am in my prime right now. I feel so good. But back to my point about Oregon and the O-line, right? The Badgers have to push the ball down the field. Like that's just plain and simple. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist or a football Nostradamus to see that, right? He has to do the 1, 2, 3. You get rid of the damn ball. I was actually listening to a podcast earlier today, and they were talking about the difference. They were talking about Caleb Williams, and they were talking about the difference between rookie Peyton Manning and second-year Peyton Manning. And Jeff Saturday was on there. And Jeff Saturday was talking about the biggest difference was 1, 2, 3, you get rid of it. 1, 2, 3, you get rid of it. I don't care if the play's dead. You get rid of the goddamn thing.
Yep.
You got to make your decision that quick.
Yep.
You go up there pre-snap. You think you understand what you see. If it's not what you see, you either take your check down or you get rid of the damn ball.
Or you throw it away.
That's what it comes down to. And he's just got to do that. And sometimes when you see a one-on-one, trust your guy.
Send it.
Throw it up there to Vinny Anthony. I don't give a shit. Throw it up there to Will Pauling. I don't give a shit.
Throw it up to
Throw it
CJ
up there. The Badgers recruited these guys for a reason. If we have to hand the ball off 25, 30 times to control the clock, Braden Locke's still going to have to make throws at the end of the day.
Going to have to
the
convert.
O-line has to give him time. And I know that everything is just like a machine on offense, but the O-line is going to do its job. The O-line's been pretty damn good this year, so I don't think that's been the problem. Locke's just got to make a couple throws in this one for us to have a chance.
So I'm going to give you the Locke number that tells the story of what exactly that you're saying, because my notes on Locke say keep the downfield looks in play and let it fly.
Yeah.
Again, if we're talking about beating a team like Oregon, if you want to have a chance to win, you have to be able to do everything. It's just like we talked about in the Penn State game. If you want to beat a team like that, everything has to be at the pinpoint of execution.
Yep.
And the number that I'm going to use to perfectly sum up the way that I felt that Braden Locke has played is his average depth of target.
Okay.
So even against Alabama, it was 8.6. I thought he played okay in that game, as okay as you could, being pushed into a game that you were not prepared to play in, even though they always say that you stay ready, whatever. But still, you're not prepared for your quarterback, one, to tear his ACL in the first quarter.
Yeah.
So I thought Braden Locke was okay. Against USC, his average depth of target was 9.7. Obviously, the first half of that game was great. The second half of that game was great if you're a USC fan.
Yeah.
Purdue, 11.1 yard average depth of target. Braden Locke was pretty good outside the 2 interceptions. Rutgers, average depth of target, 10.5. Pretty solid. Northwestern, average depth of target, 9.8. Again, anything over like 9 basically is good.
Mm-hmm.
Like last year, J.J. McCarthy, Caleb Williams were both in like the low 9s. So if you're in that 9 to 10 area, I'm fine with that. And the games that he's been above that, where he's letting it fly, he's played well outside of some bad decision making here and there.
Yeah.
Penn State, 7.1. Iowa, 7.2.
Yep.
Let it rip, let it fly, send it. There is no conservative when you're playing Oregon. Play it full send. And obviously, like, I'm not saying to make bad decisions and stuff like that, but like Jake said, if you have a one-on-one, there's no room in a game against the number 1 team in the country to be conservative in that situation.
Yeah.
Send the ball downfield.
Can I pile on?
Sure, because after that, I'm going to say something very not positive about Braden Locke. So go ahead.
Okay, listen, man. We're not in a playoff race. We're not in a conference race. We're trying to become bowl eligible. If you the tape is out there already. If he was going to transfer out, the tape is out there. He's throwing a pick in every game. He has turnover-worthy plays almost every single week. And again, I'm not trying to kill the kid. I want him to be successful. He chose to be a Badger, so I'm cheering for him every Saturday. 3 hours every Saturday. I'm like, Braden Locke is my fucking guy. Okay, so I'm riding with him till the end, and the Badgers are going to ride with him till the end of the season too. But there's no choice for you to go out there butt ball, right? You've hit rock bottom at this point if you're Braden Locke in terms of your transfer portal, eligibility. You're going to get a low class offer. You're not going to get a big time conference offer. And if it is, you're going to go on one of the lower teams in a big time conference. It just is what it is, dude. That's reality speaking. So when you go out there, you want to put some good film out there, make quick decisions, and chuck that son of a bitch. Seriously. That's all you can do at this point. You got something to say, Mike?
I was just gonna, on top of that, I think Block's gonna be the guy the rest of the year. On Monday, actually, in their press conferences or whatever, Fickle was speaking and Longo was actually talking too, and of course, the progress from Mabry Matoyer got brought up, and he was talking about he's not necessarily he said he was progressing, but he also made it a point to say like Braden's still our guy for the foreseeable future. So I think for any fans that are going to want to see Matoyer, unless, God forbid there's a injury of some sort, I really think Braden is going to be the guy for the rest of the year. And, we should just be open to that. I think at this point, there's no reason why not. I mean, he's got nothing to lose. Going to Jake's point, he's really got nothing to lose at this point. Especially going into the next year, and with how the transfer portal can be, and if we decide to cough up a couple million and bring in the next big thing, I don't think there's any hesitation. We are going to do it, right? So I do think Braden Locke's going to be taking the reins the rest of the year for sure. But I think, Longo kind of made it pretty clear that he's going to be the guy for the rest of the season. So I know fans might not like that, but I just don't think Matoyer is ready anyway, at least not yet. So just throwing that out there.
I don't care if they don't like it. We literally cheer against a team in the NFL that ruins quarterbacks because they put them in shitty situations.
Yeah.
We faced them this weekend. I'm not trying to put Matoyer into that situation against the number one team in the country, primetime lights. I'm not trying to make them go at 2:30 p.m., which is the next week's game against Nebraska. I'm not trying to make them go on the road against that stadium that has sellouts. They don't have sellouts. They're lying. But I'm not trying to have him go into that situation for a road game for his first start. That's tough as hell. I'm not trying to have him going against Minnesota for an Axe game. That's a big-time emotional matchup. That's too much to throw on a kid. You let him develop. You let him sit. We eat our goddamn shit this year, and we come back next year stronger. That's how this works.
All right. You guys ready for the devil's advocate perspective?
Say
yes.
It, dude.
I agree that Braden Locke is going to be the quarterback for the rest of this week. Now, I am very open to the very likely possibility that Braden Locke is the quarterback for the rest of the season. However, I would be on board with changing to Mabry Matoyer next week.
Okay.
Or to Cole LaCrue.
I had no idea he was going to say that.
Next week.
Okay.
Putting them out there this week against number 1 Oregon isn't going to tell you anything about either one of them. However, Nebraska's a much closer matchup to Wisconsin than Wisconsin is to Oregon.
Oh, that's for sure.
Oh, ain't that
so? This is the other part of this. Mabry Matoyer has played in 2 games so far this year. He could play in 2 more games and still redshirt. Bowl games don't count towards redshirts. So that's where my other thought process part of this comes in, is even if it's alternating series, even if it's Matoyer plays the odd quarters and Locke plays the even quarters. I get that might not be something you want to deal with as an offense, but if you are talking about wanting to give Mabry Matoyer a chance to start getting some in-game experience, I'm on board with mixing him in. Jake, if you're talking about eating shit, I'd rather eat shit and have Mabry Matoyer get a little bit of experience in his freshman season and still be able to redshirt.
You know what? I actually am kind of on board with that. Thinking about something that Fickle said in preseason that we talked about, where he said that college doesn't really get a preseason. So if you treat this like a preseason where they kind of alternate quarters, I can see that working.
Yeah, like I said, alternate quarters, alternate series, first half, second half. I don't care.
Okay.
I am down for Mabry Matoyer to get some playing time in the next 2 weeks after Oregon.
Okay, I'm with it.
Okay. That said, Braden Locke's still the guy this week. Full send the ball downfield. I don't care if you're playing for North Dakota State next season. You're playing for Wisconsin this week. Send it. All right, Mike, who's your X factor?
I got I just wrote down the turnover battle on this, honestly. Can we win the turnover battle for the game at the end of the day? I mean, Penn State, if it wasn't for that pick, I think what was it, like 2-3 or something like that. I forget what the stat was, but my bad. Anyway, we got to get turnovers, whether that's against Dylan Gabriel on a punt return, kick return, special teams. We got to win the turnover battle, man. It can't be 0-0 or 1-1. We have to be plus in that category for us to even sniff the opportunity to beat these guys. And at the end of the day, going back to what I was saying earlier, find a way to keep the crowd engaged the entire time. We don't want this to get bad by halftime and all the kids go to freaking Lucky's right down the street to the bar and just go get hammered and half the stadium's empty by then, right? We have to make those plays. We got to keep the crowd engaged as much as we can. Hopefully long enough so jump around comes on in the fourth quarter and everyone can just get freaking buck wild, and then we put the pressure on them. But at the end of the day, we got to win the turnover battle, which in turn is going to keep the crowd in it and is going to keep everybody fired up.
Jake, what's your X factor?
My X factor is the team needs to adapt a one play at a time mindset. Now, there are times during, big time games, like you bring up Penn State. Last week, I broke down, USC, Bama, Iowa, Penn State. Those are all the big time games, 4 of the 5 big time games we played. There's been times in those games where the team has made plays, but the other team, the opponent, has made plays in response to that. So if you make a play, all right, cool. You be hyped for a couple seconds, you get back to work. It's time to make another play, right? So one play at a time mindset to capture momentum and hold on to momentum is what I'm looking for.
I like that. I, too, did not go with a specific player. And my viewpoint on that was there's not one specific player that if they do everything right, that can push the odds in Wisconsin's favor by a large margin.
Yep.
If Braden Locke has his best game of the season, he could make a decent impact. But if Braden Locke plays well, Oregon's offense can still easily outscore the Badgers. If Tawi Walker plays great and scores 3 touchdowns, the Badgers could still lose 42-21. So my thing here on an X factor, my X factor is anyone that shows me that they want to win.
Ooh.
So this is going to be a very play-by-play thing, like kind of how Jake was just talking about. But anybody who's going to show me that they're going to put up that 110% of effort, that 120% of effort, that there is no tomorrow for us type effort. Mm-hmm. That's my X factor for this.
I like it.
Brett, welcome back. So let's go to keys. Mike, what is your key to victory?
So it's actually interesting, Tyler. It's kind of piggybacking off of what you just said. And this is kind of like I wrote down kind of in frustration, especially after this last game. My key, I'm looking for a fucking pulse. That's exactly what I wrote down. That's literally what I wrote down. This is kind of out of frustration from this last game against Iowa. I'm not going to lie. I haven't seen us get bullied that bad, especially on the ground in quite some time. And to have it happen against Iowa, I think definitely speaks volumes. So I'm all around. I'm just looking for a fucking pulse. I'm looking for signs of life. I don't care where it comes from in this game. If it has to be from a freshman who hasn't played yet, so be it. I think that was a reality check against, Iowa. And I really, really hope these kids took it to heart. I hope this coaching staff took it to heart. And I'm calling out the coaching staff too, because I think in all facets of the game against Iowa, we just got flat out embarrassed. So I'm looking for a fucking pulse from somebody going into this game, not get embarrassed by halftime and not go into next week at Nebraska and these next 2 games for that matter, which are winnable and are going to give us an opportunity to keep that bowl streak alive. I'm looking for from somebody here to step up. It can be freaking anybody, but I'm just looking for a pulse from this team. You're at home, you're under the lights. It's a sold out crowd. This is still going to tell a lot about what we're made of. I don't care who we're playing. I know it's the number 1 team in the country. I know this team's probably might just win it all this year, but we got to show some signs of life somehow against these dudes at the end of the day. And if it's got to be, from a freaking red shirt freshman quarterback, it can be from the 3rd string D lineman that goes out there and takes a couple reps. We need to show a spark somehow, some way this week, especially after that Iowa game.
I'm going to say this. If Tyler's comment that Tretch Kekahuna goes for 5 receptions for 130 yards and 2 tutties, that we heard it here first. If that happens, Tyler, I will take the small bundle of stuff that I have here for stuff to give away, and I will send you a giveaway package. I promise you that if Trutch does that this week. I will send you a Wisconsin Sports bundle if Trutch Kahuna pulls that off this week. And I would be super excited for that because he was my breakout candidate because he's getting the keys to the car next year. Jake, what is your key to victory?
Stop hurting yourself.
Jake,
That's
this is the Badgers Packer show.
I know. That's not just turnovers. That's pre-snap penalties. That's not being in the right spot. Not understanding your keys. Stop hurting yourself. This goddamn team has plenty of talent. I don't want to hear it's a talent gap. We're a Big Ten school. We're the Wisconsin Badgers. Mike just brought up something. We have a bowl streak on the line. That means we've been damn good for a long time. We've won a lot of big-time games in my life. I'm pretty old now. I got a lot of gray hairs popping out of my head. But stop hurting.
He's going to go for 5 and 129 and 2 touchdowns. I'll give you some leeway, Tyler.
Now he's going to go for 130 or 130.
We'll take it.
Just play football, man. At the end of the day, you guys have been playing football long enough. These coaches got to get these guys fired up. If you can't get fired up for a night game at home with a sellout crowd and the number one team in your house, you got problems.
That Tyler said verbal contract. Deal. I'll give you some leeway. But if he goes for 5 and 131 and 3 touchdowns, then you get nothing.
Yeah, you picked the under.
A really good game. I'll send you something.
You picked the under,
Tyler. So taking your thought into mine is going to be, if you want an upset, you have to first believe that it is possible. Now, there's plenty of outside noise, especially when it comes to social media and the amount of negativity that there is in Wisconsin sports fandom. It's not just Badger football. It goes to Badger basketball. It obviously goes to the Bucks that we're going to talk about. There's plenty of it with the Brewers. There's plenty of it with the Packers. Jake and I have a lot of work to do. That said, as far as outside noise goes, none of it matters.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the players in the field are concerned. I can say, I could sit here and say that Wisconsin's going to win 69-0.
Mm-hmm.
There's also going to be people that are going to be saying that Oregon is going to beat Wisconsin so badly and they should fire their entire coaching staff and the athletic director and burn the stadium down. There's going to be plenty of people that are on both sides of this.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a player and you want to win an upset and you are going into this game thinking about the negativity that there is as far as Wisconsin football as it stands, and you're thinking about that, you're not going to win. Plain and simple. You have to go into this game believing that it is possible that you can win.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler asked if the Badgers could bring David Gilreath back on a one-game scholarship just so he can take the opening kickoff one more time.
I talked about that earlier, man.
Why not?
Tyler, Jake did talk about needing a big play out of special teams.
Yeah.
All right. So let's come back down to earth a little bit, unfortunately. But we have 2 score predictions from the head and the heart. Mike, what is your score prediction from the head?
I got 38-17 Oregon. At the end of the day, I think we might keep it relatively close in the first half, like a 17-10 or something like that. But I just think in the fourth quarter, Oregon's got too much firepower. I do think they're going to take over and cover the spread. The spread's minus 14 right now. It actually went down. It was 14.5. Now it's at 14, I saw. So I got 38-17 from the head.
Jake, what do you got from the head?
I got Oregon 31-21.
All right. The Iowa game was pretty discouraging for me as far as what I saw. I have Oregon 35-13.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get a little bit more optimistic here.
Okay.
Mike, what do you have from the heart?
I got 24-17 Oregon from the heart. Just get it to the fourth quarter. be in it. Anything can happen at the end of the day at Camp Randall. That's how I saw it.
Yeah. I have a kind of just keep it close score as well. I have 30-20 Oregon. And again, if you're within striking distance, like you said, anything can happen. That's the reason we watch sports is so you can see things unexpected happen. Whether it's a play-by-play, of a guy getting mossed or Giannis dunking on somebody, or if it is an unranked team beating a number one. That's why we watch sports.
Yep.
So, Jake, what is your score prediction from the heart?
I have 27-23 Oregon. I think Oregon, just Dylan Gabriel will make one or two more throws than we can kind of withstand.
All right. So if anybody ever claims that we're homers, there you go. From the head and the heart, we've all predicted this game in Oregon's favor. So there is realism amongst us. We're not just picking our teams for the sake of picking our teams. All right. Anything else you guys want to say on Badger football before we switch to basketball?
Nope.
All right. Definitely what I would consider a more upbeat team as far as the teams are concerned here. Tyler said we're cold-hearted with those predictions. That's our tagline is optimistic and realistic. That's what we got here.
I mean, we all made it close games from the heart, but it's just like, listen, in the state that we're in, and people are calling us homers, we got to be realistic, right? And the thing is, Tyler's right. We lost 42-10 last time we saw this goddamn team. So
we got embarrassed.
It is what it is, man. Yeah.
And I tweeted out I had never been more embarrassed as a fan after that game.
Just to clarify, this doesn't mean that we don't think that Wisconsin can win.
Yeah.
It's just that we're not predicting them to do so. We just talked for 20 minutes about, what they would need to do to be able to win.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Switch to Badger basketball. A little bit more fun to talk about. We got 2 wins, so we're going to start with the Montana State game. Now, I haven't been with you guys for a Badger basketball breakdown. You guys had the first one last week. So I'm assuming, Jake, you went guards, wings, bigs, or did you just go from Mike to you and then read my notes?
I kind of went from Mike to, and then I read your notes for one of them, and I read your notes, and then I went myself. So I kind of mix it up. I don't really know if we have a formula that's really going to work, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, and still open for potential future discussion on how we break down Badger basketball games between the three of us. But all right. Well, Mike, I'll start with you. Start with the guards and your thoughts on the Badgers' win against Montana State.
Yeah, I guess as far as the teams that we played these last 2 games specifically, these are low-key, decent, like mid-major teams. Both Montana State and Appalachian State have made the NCAA tournament. Montana State recently, last season, they won the Big Sky tournament. I believe, I remember – whoever the head coach was, he's got plenty of history at NCAAs as well. But Montana State, like I said, tournament team last year. I think they were up in statistically and 3-point percentage last season. So low key, these last 2 games were actually pretty good wins. All said and done. That being said, from the guards perspective, I talked about him in our primer, Kamari McGee. He's still gonna have a good year. He's playing starter minutes once again. He's going to be averaging right around that 25, 27, 28-minute mark. The Montana State game, for example, tied his career high in points with 11 in 27 minutes, 3 boards, 3 assists, 1 steal. Swiss Army knife, so to speak, and do it all. Ultimately, I think that helped us big time with shooting 11 of 22 from 3 with getting guys open that in this game. So Kamari McGee is really having a good start to the year. I think ultimately he's a big piece of this team. And we even talked about it last season when he was out for, I think it was 4 or 5 games. And we talked about how much we were missing him because he just provided
the skid that they had last season correlated with his absence.
Correct. Yep. So, and I think he's going to be just as important, if not more important this year, because he's the first guy off of this bench ultimately. And the first, if you want to say true point guard, I guess you could say that, given the current starting lineup that we have. But he's going to be one of your defensive stoppers as well against any sort of team that has one of those quick guards throughout the year. So he's going to be relied upon quite a bit. So I wanted to call him out. And then I guess I got to call out Max Klesman, the other guard. This is his first game of the year where he he caught fire. We saw it a handful of times last season too, where he would just go nuclear. I talked about Marquette in the primer from last game where he scored like 21 points, all of it in the first half.
Yeah.
He did catch fire the first time this year. Shot 6 of 11 from 3, 26 points total. 7 of 15 from the field, 2 steals, 1 assist. But it was good second game into the year for Klesi. And we'll go with that.
Yeah. So for me, looking at John Blackwell, kind of on the wing aspect of it, he, in my opinion, this is just strictly as far as passing / dribbling goes. He's got to put himself in better positions to pass. Whether it's, leaving your feet, which is always a no-no, like don't leave your feet to pass, or like drifting towards out of bounds, like floating towards out of bounds and like hoping that somebody's going to be open either under the basket or in the corner. So that's the first thing, just not assuming that somebody is going to be open in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing with him, this is going to be a theme. He is really, really developing as a slasher. I really like what I see from John Blackwell as far as driving towards the basket. That is something I'm going to talk about again when we get to Appalachian State. John Blackwell, very disruptive defender. Was kind of rough from 2-point shots this game. He was 1 for 7. But he was good from the 3-point line. He was 3 for 6 on threes, had 13 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. The other guy that I really like what I'm seeing, and I wish I would have made him my breakout candidate because I liked what I saw from him from his tape coming into the game, is John Tonji. So he only took 4 shots, made 2 shots. He was 1 for 2 from the 3-point line. He finished with 13 points. He was 8 of 9 from the free throw line. So I really, really like what John Tonji is bringing as far as energy is concerned, as far as him also being a slasher, working really hard to get to the rim to get those free throws. The Badgers 36 of 37 on free throws in the first 2 games.
I was going to bring that up. Good call. Good call.
I'm going to bring it up again when we get to Appalachian State. So if you want to talk about it, do it when we get to Appalachian State. I'm going to give a stat about it when we get to that. But between Blackwell, Tonje, and I'm going to throw Klesman in there too, very smart rotating defenders. I really like what I'm seeing from the wings so far when it comes to defense. And I'm going to say something again about Klesman actually when we get to Appalachian State for more thoughts there. But Jake, I'm going to let you give your thoughts on the bigs, and then I just have a couple other things that I want to throw out there.
Yeah, so I explained to you a little bit earlier how I'm kind of breaking this down, but as far as Winter and Crowell go, Winter finished with 6-8-1. Looked aggressive again, so I'm fine with it. As long as he keeps playing strong, I really don't have any concerns about him. I will say the one thing that kind of concerns me with playing the 2 big guys, and I think it's happened the first 2 games. I'm not going to go forward because we're not forward at this point in time. The thing that kind of concerns me is we can get beat in transition. And that's going to be something to watch against Arizona because that's really where they ran us out of the goddamn building last year. I was watching that and I was like, dude, if we play a quick team with a bunch of quick guards, they're going to go right down the fucking floor on us. So Badgers are going to have to be mindful of the shots they take. They're going to have to make a high percentage of threes. I know they're taking more, but they're going to have to make a high percentage of threes, and they're going to have to control pace to a certain extent. I know we're playing a little bit faster, but playing the 2 big lineups, you leave yourself susceptible to some fast break points. That's kind of the same thing that happens to the Bucks, not to, foreshadow or anything like that, but Giannis exerts so much energy going back and forth on offense that the only other big guy that you have down there is Brook Lopez, right? And that's kind of where the fast break thing kind of gets into a little hairy area, but that's the only thing that kind of scares me. But I do like it in a half-court set, right? You obviously have the length, and with Winter playing a little bit more physicality, and I know Crowell tries, but every once in a while he gets babied. I mean, Zach Edey babies a lot of people. He's literally number 1 on the NBA Rookie of the Year leaderboard because the NBA rookies this year are so bad. That's laughable. But Crowell also had 6 points. He had 4 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 1 for 4 from the field, so not too many looks, but hard to get looks when Klesman was as hot as he was, right? You kind of just give him the ball and just let him shoot a bunch. As far as the big men off the bench, Carter Gilmore played 19 minutes, 4 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 for 3 from the field. I mean, I said last week, man, new number, same headband, same energy. I mean, the guy just cooks, absolutely cooks all the time. I love Carter Gilmore. He's earning a soft spot for me, for Carter Gilmore. He just gives energy. I just love those kind of guys that are just the first of the floor types, dude. Like, he comes to practice with a fucking smile on his face. I can never hate you.
And then like he's gonna do that, right? And it's gonna be all like fun and Carter, and then you're gonna do a post drill, and he's gonna throw you a hip that is going to leave a big ass bruise on your leg, and is going to check you like 9 feet away from where you were just standing.
Yeah, he's gonna practice hard.
It's gonna be like, damn, Carter, like you were just high-fiving each other and smiling, and then like bro's getting after you.
Yeah,
but he's gonna make you better.
Coachable. Carter Gilmore is the type of player I wish every time I coached, if I'm coaching basketball, I wish I had 12 of them. I wish I had 12 Carter Gilmores that are going to come to practice. They're going to be serious when they have to be serious. They keep shit light, and they're just there. They're having a great time, and they want to play.
Working hard.
They want to compete. I love it.
Yeah.
As far as Ilver, played 5 minutes. Amos played 4 minutes. Big men in total, 16 points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists, 6 of 13 from the field. 0 of 2 from 3-point line, 2 blocks and 1 steal. So, I mean, overall, not the best game overall for stats wise, but I think they were there on defense. I think they were rotating okay. If you look at Montana State, they made 12-26 on threes. That's almost 50%. So they were lightening up from outside too. That could be a little bit of a rotation issue with the big men as well. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with the big men after 2 games.
So I want to give you credit on something. You made a point on Nolan Winter looking stronger, and that is absolutely factual. Mm-hmm. He looks stronger, but he's definitely playing stronger.
Oh, yeah.
It carries into all 3 of these games so far, so I wanted to give you credit for saying that because that is absolutely a thing. Another note on bigs, Stephen Kroll is a good passer. We kind of knew this already, but it continues to be a factor in games. Stephen Kroll is a good passer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Mike, you were kind of making this point already that both Montana State and Appalachian State are decent victories to get, even though it looks like teams that we should beat by double digits. This game was surprisingly physical. Mm-hmm. And I went and looked at Montana State's roster, and it's like, oh, this is a veteran team as far as college basketball is concerned. They have 3 freshmen and 1 sophomore on their entire roster. They have 4 underclassmen.
They've played a lot of games.
That is a lot of experience. That is a lot of veteran, like, banging around college basketball players on Montana State.
I like it.
The Badgers were able to get a lot of experience against zone. Montana State went into a lot of zones. 11 turnovers. That's not bad. 2 or 3 of them were just not catching good passes, though. So I'd like to see that cleaned up. So anything else you guys want to say on Montana State?
No.
Should be good.
Let's go to Appalachian State. Mike, what did you take away from that game?
Well, this is not the greatest stat here, but it's going to tie into the Arizona outlook. This is the 3rd game in a row when the Badgers have gotten down double digits to start the game. That's something.
You want to have a conversation about slow starts? When you finish on that, let me jump in because I have thoughts.
Yeah. So that's going to be, I'm going to talk about that later on, but that is the 3rd game in a row where we've gotten down double digits. It's something that I am a little concerned about. Unfortunately, it's just something. It's something that can't happen against good, like really, really good basketball teams. At the end of the day, I feel like, and we got a team like Arizona who loves to shoot the ball in the first 10 to 15 seconds of the shot clock. So it's going to be, I really don't like the slow starts. I think at the end of the day, I think we're just adjusting to certain rotations yet. I talked about it last week with Jake. I don't know if it's just, we're just out of position at times, at least to start the game. That might be what it is. It's just something that I'm not the biggest fan of, at least right now, 3 games in. So I'm just calling that out. Max Klesman put together, going back to the players, Max Klesman put together another decent game, had 15 points, 5 of 11 shooting, 2 of 6 from 3. But my biggest takeaway, actually, I just want to call him out. I know he's not a guard or anything, but I thought Amos took a big step this last game, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, in the second half, you could tell he was being more aggressive in the second half because he did get plenty of opportunities, which was really good to see. At 12 minutes, 2 of 8 shooting, but he was 2 of 4 from the 3-point line, 4 of 4 from the free throw line, which at the end of the day, that's going to help us win games. Big part of it's going to be, a big part of the season where there's definitely one thing with this team. We're definitely shooting free throws a lot better in comparison. I know last year we were decent. The year before we were terrible. But we're off to a good start shooting from the free throw line. So I think Amos is going to be able to you can see flashes that he's going to have that ability to stretch the floor out in comparison to maybe what our starting 5 might have been last year, where we might have had only 3 out of the 5 guys that could do that. So when he's out there, defenders are going to want to come out and get out on him because he's definitely got the capability to shoot the 3. So just seeing another transfer who's first just gotten to the system this year come in and put on a game like this, showing that capability that he can, be a big part of the team this year. So no, I thought Amos was the biggest takeaway for this game for me ultimately. And seeing that we did go, I guess, going down 17-6, going back to that slow start. We did go on a 24-0 run after that. That was great. But I would still like to cut that out if possible. But, I'm going to take a win at the end of the day.
So I'm going to talk about the wings first, and I'm going to talk about some of the other script type things. Going back to John Blackwell, he's getting really good as a slasher. And I really liked what I started to see from this game. They're running some pick and pop with John Blackwell and Stephen Crowell. We talked about some earlier in our Badgers primer, some of the pick and roll combinations that we wanted to see. And John Blackwell and Stephen Crowell is becoming a pretty solid pick and pop option. Again, not Blackwell's best shooting day, but I really liked that he was focused on scoring from the inside out and not the outside in. So I like Blackwell's approach. Mm-hmm. Max Klesman, he started 0 for 2. He made 5 of his next 9 shots, finished with 15 points, 4 assists, and 5 steals. Max Klesman was, in my notes, all caps, everywhere defensively, especially in the passing lanes. Max Klesman was extremely disruptive during this game. And those are the 2 main players that I had to take away from this game. Also, John Tonje having a Dr. J moment in this game.
That was ridiculous.
And having so tough up, around, and under nasty work from John Tonje.
Sick.
He finished with 17 points, 8 of 14 shooting, also 7 rebounds. I love that John Tonje is helping on the boards. I love it. 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 Also 5 assists, and he had 2 steals. I'm going to let Jake talk on the bigs before I say some of the other things I want to say with this game, but very, very happy with the wing players and their approach to the game.
Okay. I'm just going to say something random that I thought of during this game when I was watching it. John Tonje has the perfect name for a guy who's going to hit a game-winning 3. I'm just saying. Tonje for 3. Dude, he has the perfect name for it. I just thought that
was so dirty.
Oh, dude, it was disgusting. Okay, so we're going big man, right? So I'm going to start with Winter and Crowell. I always write Winter first. First of all, because he's one of my favorite players on the team. Also, because it's my daughter's name and it's a great name. So Nolan Winter.
Different because your girlfriend's extra, but yes.
Winter had 10 points, 8 rebounds. He was 3 for 5 from the field and 1 for 2 from 3. So good game from him. I like that he's shooting a 3-pointer now. He needs to be the 3-level scorer that we expect him to be. He's showing a little bit more beef down low. Love that. Love that. That was the one thing that we all thought last year. He needs to get stronger down low.
Dog, tell me that we were coming into the primer last season, and I said that he could be Nate Reavers with better defense, that wasn't a brilliant comparison.
Oh, I can see it 100%.
He's more aggressive. He's going to be – he's somebody that will dunk it I don't mean to make a comparison to Stephen Crowell, but Nolan's the guy that will dunk it and not just lay it in.
Yeah.
You can just, you know what I'm getting at? Yeah. I don't know if I want to call it aggressive, but maybe
you could say aggressive. Assertive, maybe?
Assertive, that's a good word.
Assertive. Yeah, that's a good call.
Okay, so
Continue, start.
Stephen Crowell had a nice bounce back game, 17, 1 rebound, four assists. I did write down that he's a good passer. I was just going to let you guys get all your thoughts out, but he is a good passer. I will say with that good passing ability, something that you brought up a lot, Tyler, is he has to look to score though.
Yeah.
To make that passing ability an actual problem, you have to, and I'm going to use another word you said, assertive. You have to assert yourself on offense. You
Be
show
dangerous.
that you're trying to score the ball.
Seem dangerous.
Yeah, if you look like you're trying to score and they're going to come down to you, that's when your passing ability becomes a tool that you can pull out of your tool belt. So, Crowell, man, just be aggressive. We got the good Stephen Crowell in this game, so love that for us. In terms of the bench, Greppy only played 2 minutes. Hodges, nothing. Marcus Silver, 3 points, 3 rebounds, 1 for 4 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3. Carter Gilmore, always great effort. Literally will not talk bad about that guy the entire season. He might be my favorite player at this point. I don't care. 10 minutes, he had 1 rebound. I don't give a shit. He is in the place when he needs to be in the damn place. That's all I care about. And then Amos. So Amos, 10 points, 6 rebounds, 2 for 8 from the field, but 2 for 4 from 3. And I circled the 2 for 4 from 3 about 15 fucking times on this damn page. I can almost not see the number 2 because I was like, dude, this is what I was seeing. When I was watching his tape and I was reading around him, I was like, dude, he could stretch the floor. That takes the Badgers offense to the next level. Having a guy with length be able to pull somebody away, playing him with a Nolan Winter could be dangerous.
Ooh.
That could be dangerous, man. If those guys start connecting offensively, and playing more aggressive and finding that flow, oh my goodness, you can create a crazy offense. Big men, 27 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 10 of 17 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3. And the bench, 13 points, 10 rebounds, 3 for 12 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3. That's the bench big men. I wanted to separate them so you can kind of see the difference in there. But most of that scoring, obviously, from Amos. If we have a different guy step up every day from the bench as a big man, doesn't that just speak to the depth of this team? And that's something that we were all kind of talking about coming into the season, was the depth was much better. And in basketball, especially a game like college basketball, if you have 1 or 2 guys step up on the bench and your starters give you what they're supposed to give you, you're going to win a lot of basketball games.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump back at the slow start thing that Mike brought up when he was first talking. And the Badgers getting down 15-6, being 2 for 9 from the field. I'm not actually super worried about it. And my reason being because they're getting good shots. So I believe that those shots are going to fall at a more average rate than they did in their first few games so far. And the other part of it is they're playing good defense. So they were forcing some late shot clock, contested shots, getting some steals. Appalachian State had 13 turnovers in the first half. That's a disgusting numbers. Like their coach was definitely making them run for that. So the defense helping them keep close when they're shooting poorly, and getting good shots. I just believe that taking good shots, passing up good shots for great shots, I believe that those things are going to balance out when it comes to scoring. So the slow start thing hasn't super concerned me. Let's talk about that 24-0 run, boys. So looking at it, the Badgers were down 17-8 when this run started. They were up 32-17 when it was over. Appalachian State was scoreless for 8 minutes and 22 seconds.
It's a long time to be scoreless.
Yikes. In that time, the Crowell was working the paint. They were pushing the pace. The guards were helping rebound. Thank you, John Tanji. Love him on the team so far.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the rest of the half, the Badgers outscored Appalachian State 28-3 after getting down 17-8. I'm not expecting them to do this to Arizona, but Max Klesman talked about it after the game. They said that their goal is to get 3 stops in a row. At one point, they had 15 stops in a row.
Damn.
That's pretty good.
So that run on its own, I don't know how you can't be even at least a little bit bought into the fact that Greg Gard is a good coach and these are good basketball players.
You don't got to tell us that. you,
I'm gonna
you
take
gotta
a
tell
word.
you gotta tell all of Twitter, Tyler. You gotta tell
Yeah.
those cats.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
gonna take a word from Marcus Johnson real quick. Yes, the slow starts could be concerning, no matter what way you look at it. But having the spurtability, which is a Marcus Johnson word, having the spurtability to be able to bounce back from that and then go on a big run by yourself is a very good sign.
So let me add another spurt of ability. The Badgers went on a 9-0 run midway through the second half, and over about a 24-minute span of game time, Wisconsin outscored Appalachian State 62-23.
That's bad for Appalachian State.
Yikes. That's a big yikes.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at it, the starters had 11 steals. The Badgers had 14 steals total. The starters had 11 of them. Stephen Crowell, like you said, great post work, good bounce back game from him. I wanted to get some film from this. I unfortunately didn't have time to pull some film with the Badgers, what they're doing defensively, which is really good hedging between Crowell and Winter. They're doing a really good job of hedging screens super high, and this is a defensive scheme thing. So again, gotta give credit to the coaching staff where it's due. This is one of those things where it's like, I wish I had more time to do this so I can get more film to present to people to show Nolan Winter and Stephen Crowell are being coached to hedge really high to help the guards get back to the pick and roll ball handler.
Mm-hmm.
So I've really appreciated seeing Crowell and Winter do that. I also really, really like Xavier Amos's defense. I really appreciate it. And free throws. Mike, you said the Badgers are doing good on free throws. That is inaccurate. They are doing great on free throws. In fact, they are doing the best on free throws. Wisconsin is currently number 1 in college basketball at free throw percentage at 92.5%.
That's a good thing. Let's keep it that way.
All right. And before we let Mike go and we switch to the Bucks, I want to talk a little bit more about Kamari McGee and the crafty ways that he is finishing baskets. So before we let Mike go, we're going to talk a little bit more about Kamari McGee. And I have just a couple clips of him being really adept at using his body and some of the fakes that he does, and just that extra step, that small extra step that he takes to keep him from getting...
Look at the defender, too. He's looking at... Look at where... Because he's looking right at his face. Yeah.
I think the thing that I appreciate most is the spacing. Look at the spacing on this. There's nobody next to each other, dude. Look at this.
That one extra step, being able to take that, and obviously looking at Tanjay, makes number 5 take a little bit step closer to Tanjay and leaves Max Klesman wide open.
It's beautiful.
Okay. More Kamari McGee. This is super crafty of him because he does this little up and under move where he puts the ball up like he's basically gonna try to float up a shot here, and it gets, I don't remember what number that is, but gets him to basically leave his feet for just a split second, just by putting the ball up just a little bit like that, and then jumping to the other side. Just by showing the ball, gives him the space he needs to finish on the other side of the basket.
Yeah.
And then one more being...
Yeah, that was...
Man, bro.
That was filth. I remember watching that one. That one's filth, dude. With the left hand, the runner with the left, bro, is sick.
He's a little guy, and he covers a lot of space.
He's quick.
Like, he covers a lot of space in these 2 steps. Like, he's going to a spot on the court, not towards the basket. He's going to a spot where he knows how he's going to finish. So, Kamari McGee, he's a little guy, but he's crafty on offense as well as defense, and it makes the Badgers a better basketball team.
Little guy, big impact.
So, like I said, I'd like to have more film to be able to present more of these things that we're talking about. It's just a matter of having the time to be able to do some of these things. Hopefully, we have some things coming down the pipeline that'll make this a little bit more possible, hopefully. I'll definitely keep people up to date as we get more details on such things. Probably by the end of the month, we'll have some full details as we move towards 2025. But it's going to be our goal to continue being able to give more to the fans to help explain what we are seeing, what makes us optimistic in situations where it might not seem like there is all that, room for optimism. I'm sure there's going to be, whatever happens with the Badgers in Arizona on Friday night, there's going to be people complaining as if Arizona's not a top 10 basketball team, as if the Badgers aren't unranked, that if the Badgers lose by 15 points, that it's going to be time to fire Greg Gard and all these transfers are trash. So it's inevitable, but again, we would like to be able to spend more time on it to help give people our perspectives on where we're coming from, where we are seeing things to be optimistic about for these developing things, to see Kamar McGee, a backup point guard, being crafty, or Stephen Crowell and Nolan Winter hedging screens defensively, that they're coaching them that way, and it's doing good things for the Badgers. So that said, Friday against Arizona, Monday against Texas Rio Grande. So we will have 2 games to recap next week, as well as Badgers football against Oregon. So, Mike, anything you want to say before we let you go and switch to the Bucks?
I guess just got to give a quick shout out. Friday is going to be a very special day. Badgers are going to honor not only Bo Ryan, who's going to get a banner hung up in the rafters in the Kohl Center. The Badgers are also honoring the 2 Final Four teams on Friday. I think they're doing it kind of on purpose, trolling Arizona a little bit, considering we beat them both times in the Elite Eight to get there. Well done, Badger Nation, on that one. No, but it's going to be a special night for that group. I still remember going back to that where I was both times, even against Arizona, and obviously the Kentucky game. My dad was getting remarried that night, so that was one of the most wild scenes I'll ever be a part of in my life. I was there in Indy against Duke, and I was unfortunately, I knew where I was, when we lost to Aaron Harrison's bullshit shot in the 2014 year. So, but it was a special group that we're gonna be honoring on Friday. Shit, that was some of the most fun basketball I've ever watched in my life, and I don't know if we're ever going to get that ever again. Not to knock this team at all, but that was so complimentary. They were the most efficient scoring team in the country, I think, for 2 years straight, and pretty damn close too. So that just tells you, the whole starting 5 from top to bottom, whoever was in there had the ability to score at any given moment. So shout out to those guys. Big game though against Arizona. I guess in terms of playing them in general, they're top 5 and getting shots off within the first 10 to 15 seconds of the shot clock, right? So it's going to be a track meet for the most part. Hopefully we don't. If we do go down early, hopefully it's not for an extended period of time. You got Caleb Love, who's been in college basketball for a long time.
6 years.
Definitely affected us last year. Jaden Bradley's a stud player, 11 points per game, coming from last year's team as well. And then the Tennessee transfer right now, Toby Awaka, who's averaging 11 points and 12 rebounds. He's coming from a lot of experience from Tennessee's team last year, who made the Elite Eight and played with a guy that you guys might know, Dalton Knitt, who's with the Los Angeles Lakers right now. So plenty of experience. Kohl Center is going to be rocking. This is going to be a big weekend all around football and basketball. If we can, I think I actually might want to parlay the Badgers for both football and basketball. Maybe win some money off of that.
Put $5 down, win 25 grand. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, since we're going to be plus 1,000 in both those games, so at least probably plus 2,000. So had to give a quick shout out to that. On that note, I'll let you guys go. But looking forward to this weekend's going to be fun. Hopefully.
Yes, sir.
All righty, Mike. Well, we will see you again next Wednesday, and go Badgers.
Sounds good, fellas. Later.
All right, so we can switch to the Bucks, and we could start with Bucks Jazz. You mentioned it kind of before we started that we get to bookend these games a little bit. I think we're gonna have some good conversations as well as far as these games go. But let's just start with the Bucks and the Jazz, and what stood out to you from that game last Thursday.
Well, first of all, what stood out to me, the first thing is that Giannis and Dame are definitely starting to gel. No matter what anybody says, no matter what the media says, my eyes are telling me something different. That Giannis and Dame, the connection is starting to work.
Can I jump in? Because the third quarter perfectly encapsulates what you said, and I wrote it down as well. In the third quarter, Dame and Giannis both had 11 points each, and they were 9 of 16 combined from the field.
Yeah, the thing that you can give the stats, the hardcore stats, right? The thing that my eyes are telling me and your eyes are telling you the same thing, because we both know basketball. I don't care what anybody says.
Yep.
The thing with Dame and Giannis is they're starting to share the ball. They're starting to understand where each other likes to get the ball, where they're most dangerous, how they like to catch it. All that stuff that you can't teach, right? That's the things that you can't teach. And Dame and Giannis are starting to understand it. Just a absolutely disgusting lob from Dame to Giannis. That was a disgusting dunk. Where I was like, oh my God, like it's just one of those things that we talked about with Giannis, where it's just like every once in a while he does something and you're just like, forgot that you could do that and that you're a human that could do that. That's pretty crazy.
That's the weird part of it, is that it's like you're human and you can do that. It's just once in a while, it's like, how did he do that?
Dude, Andre Jackson Jr., when he jumps, he does the same thing, dude. I'm just like, how the fuck are you jumping that high, bro?
Dude,
what is wrong with you?
We should have put this in the bold prediction on the number of times that Andre Jackson Jr. is going to hit his head on a backboard this season.
Or how many times?
Take the over on 2.5. He's going to hit his head on a backboard or a rim this year.
Dude, it's going to happen. Talking about that, good transition. He had got entered in the starting lineup, so shout out to you. But he also had really, really good, and I texted you this last week, he had really good ball movement. I thought he did a really nice job keeping the ball hopping around, keeping the offense flowing. That was one thing that I really took away from this game. And then we talk about efficiency. So I'm going to talk about efficiency real quick. So on points from drives, the Bucks had 21 points off drives. Dame had 8. Bobby Portis had 4. Giannis had 3. Gary Trent Jr., Pat, and Ryan Rollins all had 2 apiece. So they did a good job driving to the rim and forcing the issue, right? On catch and shoots, this is one of the stats that's going to be really important for every team, but for the Bucks mainly. Now, they have a guy who literally only shoots threes. Like, I'm not shitting you when I tell you that AJ Green literally only shoots threes.
Literally.
He does not have a field goal attempt that's not a three-pointer this year, which is absolutely insane. Yep. The Bucks had 36 points on catch and shoot attempts, I should say. He had a third of them. He had 12. Bobby Portis had a good game. He had 9. Prince had 6. Andre Jackson Jr., Dame, and Stanley Umad had 3. So they all had 3 apiece. In terms of pull-ups, I talked last week about this. When Dame is right, and Dame had 34, 4, and 7 in this game. When Dame is right, he's dominating in the pull-up game. That's when he has the ball in his hands and he's feeling comfortable, right? Dame had 11 of the 19, 2 points each from Giannis, Bobby, Ryan Rollins apiece. Then you get into the paint. The paint points should be dominated by one man and one man only. Now, I love that Brook Lopez is getting involved in this a little bit, but he needs to get more paint touches, in my opinion. But Giannis had 14 of the 16 paint touches. So Giannis dominates in the paint. Dame dominates in the pull-up game. And then, the drive game is going to be, pretty much a mixture of everybody, but the catch and shoot guys should be pretty similar too. So in terms of efficiency, this is what it should look like in my opinion.
When we get to last night's game, I have some thoughts on the drive guys, but
okay.
You mentioned Damian Lillard. Since I made that stat graphic about a week and a half ago, that people are like, "Ooh, he's terrible, he's trash, trade him, he's washed." 3 games since that graphic, 19 to 35 on threes. That's 54.3%. So 41 points, 36 points, 34 points. Thank you for proving me right, Dame. Small sample sizes. Stop doing that shit. It's dumb.
Yep, agreed. So really only thing else I had was the Bucks did a good job on rebounding, and the bench gave you 43 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists on 15 to 30 shooting and 8 to 17 from 3. So you really can't complain too much, right? The bench did their thing. The Bucks rebounded in the efficiency. I like how it correlated.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump in on Ajax as well. He played the first 10 minutes and 45 seconds of the first quarter, had 4 points, a rebound, assist, and 2 steals in that time. Finished with 7 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 steals. When Ajax does it, he's a great spark plug, young guy, needs to play 25 minutes a game. It's awesome. It's different when Pat does it against the Cavaliers and he has 7 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds, and 3 steals. Then it's like, oh, he finally had a good game. You can't tell me that there isn't bias among fans.
Yeah.
There needs to be some objective looks at these players, and unfortunately, I'm going to have some film that is the detriment of Ajax, but it's going to serve a point that I'm going to make.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler said, sadly, I got to get going. Thanks for the Badgers insight, as I haven't seen much. Bucks win tonight. That's 2 in a row. To quote Major League, 1 more, and that's called a winning streak. Thanks, Tyler, for popping in. Brett's excited for the Bucks segment. Yeah. So the Bucks, 3-point shooting, 15 to 35, 43%. Very solid. AJ Green, the spark plug, 4 for 6. Bobby Portis finally had a bounce back game from the 3-point line, 3 for 6. Dame was 4 for 11. That's 36.4%. That's okay. The Jazz, again, it's the first half. People are complaining wildly because the Jazz were 14 to 26 on threes. Oh my God, they're going to shoot 53% for the whole game. We were talking at halftime of this game, and we were both like, can't wait for the Jazz to come back to earth on their 3-point shooting. Yeah. And they didn't come back to earth. Like, they just crashed hard.
Mm-hmm.
3 of 15 in the second half for 3-point shooting for the Jazz. That's really not good. That's 20%. So the Bucks contested 17 of the Jazz 41 threes. Now, 17 out of 41. People are probably going to be like, oh my God, they're letting the Jazz shoot 24 open 3-pointers. Just going to throw this out there. 17 contested threes would be number 5 in the NBA.
I was excited for you to give that stat because we were talking last week. I was very excited for that.
The NBA is built on how can we get our best shooters the most open looks from the 3-point line.
Yep.
That is the name of the game on offense as far as the NBA is concerned. You might not think it even with the Bucks having Giannis, but that's still their game plan. Their game plan is still to get their 3-point shooters the most open looks that they can because they build it around Giannis. Giannis has all the kickouts to the open shooters. That is how the Bucks offense is designed. That is how the NBA is designed, is to get the most open 3-point shots that you can get for your best shooters.
Yeah.
So again, 17 contested threes per game would be number 5 in the entire NBA.
Yeah.
Okay. Brett said, I have a strong feeling a big game by Green and Giannis tonight and a win. A man still can't believe a rest caused Dame concussion. Hope he's back on Saturday. That is nice that they have 3 days before their next game. Sad we haven't heard an update on Middleton. Middleton, they said, is going to be probably around Thanksgiving. So a couple weeks yet. Again, I'm not worried about having Middleton in October and November as much as I am about having him in April, May, and June.
Agreed.
Okay. Turnovers, held it to just 10. That is fantastic. Giannis had 4 of the 10, but offensive fouls count as turnovers, so that's part of it. The Jazz scored 17 points off turnovers. That is the number I'd rather keep down than the total number of turnovers.
Yep.
Obviously, I would want turnovers to be down, but if the Bucks turn the ball over 15 times and their opponent scores 8 points off turnovers, I'm not super impressed about having 15 turnovers instead of 10 to 12.
Yep, because then you're allowing them to snake the snowball at that point.
Right. And you're not allowing your opponent to score quickly, easily.
Yep.
Last thing, Ajax got in a little bit of foul trouble in this game. There's some learning to be done there, and I'm going to come back to Ajax as we switch into the Knicks game. So thank you, NBA, for having us play back-to-back on a Thursday night and then travel to New York. So you go from a home game to an away game on a back-to-back. Like, really, NBA? Really? And anybody shocked why the Bucks ran out of energy in this game?
Dude, if you're going to do that, at least have us play the road game first and then have us at home for the second back-to-back. At least throw us a bone a little bit.
Yep.
I mean,
so
Jesus Christ.
I have more thoughts when we get to this week's schedule.
Yeah,
but let's do this. Brett said, thanks, NBA. You can tell Dame was gassed and the Knicks were fully rested. Yep.
Yeah.
Super annoying. And we're traveling to the East. So,
yeah,
sick.
Fucking dumb. Anyways, so in terms of that, yeah, the Bucks ran out of gas. But I will say, I'm going to start with the bench this time. The bench gave you 37 points, 15 rebounds, and 8 assists. They shot 14 of 36. So I think that could just be a cause of some tired legs. 5 of 18 from 3. Again, I think some tired legs. And it's just one of those things. And I'm not going to take your thing on points off turnovers, but that was something that I took away from this game as well. Didn't shoot well from the free throw line. Missed 8 free throws. So, I mean, This game, honestly, this game was winnable if the Bucks are rested. In my opinion, I think the Bucks could beat the Knicks. I'm not, and I'm not shocked, but I wouldn't be shocked by that at all. In terms of how we scored in the paint, 32 points. So Dame actually led the way in this one. He had 14 of the 32 points. Giannis had 10. So there's 24 of your 32. The other 8 are from PC and Tyler Smith, and 4 from Ryan Rollins. And I use initials to write this down, right? It's just random. But when I write Tyler Smith's name down, I put TS. I think of my buddy. I think of Tyler Schicker every time. It just so happens that you covered him when we did our draft stuff.
I did. I nailed that one.
What's that?
I said I did. I nailed that one.
And you nailed that one. It was supposed to happen. On catch and shoots, we had 18 points. So that's cut in half from the day before. AJ Green had 9. Andre Jackson Jr., Ryan Rollins, and Taurean Prince had 3 apiece. Now, in terms of paint point or pull-up points, the Bucks had 17. So Tyler Smith, Giannis, and Brooke had 4 apiece. Bobby Portis and Liam Robbins had 2 apiece. Now, I said when Dame is going right, he's going to dominate the pull-up game, right? Well, he didn't dominate the pull-up game because he wasn't right. Honestly, when you watch Dame and you watch him, when he's pulling up and he's splashing, you got a problem, okay? You better strap up because he's about to cook. Now, paint points, the Bucks had 16. This is like paint touches, not guys driving to the rim and scoring that way. It's guys getting touches in the paint when they get past the ball. Dame had 8 of his points there. You could tell by the way that Dame was scoring in this game that he was tired. He scored off of drives and he scored off of paint touches, getting the ball in the paint. 8 points there, 4 points from Giannis, 3 points from Tyler Smith, and 2 points from Ryan Robbins. So what I take away from this is, I'm sorry if I'm going to sound like a baby, but the Bucks got freaking screwed over, in my opinion, having to travel on the second day of back-to-back and going against a team that everybody was talking was a powerhouse in the East. Why the hell are they doing that to us? I don't give a shit if we played the Jazz the day before. You make us play the road game first, the home game second. That's how it should go.
I'd feel differently if it was at Knicks on Thursday and home against the Jazz on Friday.
That's what I'm saying, bro. That's exactly what I'm saying.
That's a much different schedule setup than being like, okay, play a home game against the Jazz and then go at New York on Friday night.
Yeah, what the hell is that?
It shows up in the 3-point shooting as well. The Bucks were 7 of 30 on threes, 23%.
Yep.
And I still hold that this is the single most correlating thing to wins and losses. They've lost 2 games with good 3-point shooting by combined 3 points. And they've lost every game that they've shot poorly from the 3-point line. Bobby Portis, unfortunately, again, too many contested fadeaways and being in the wrong places defensively. The Knicks were 6 of 8 against Bobby. And Bobby is also himself shooting only 25.9% on threes. So it's unfortunate. We had conversations, but whether it's Robert Williams or Larry Nance or the 2 guys that I've written articles about potentially trading for, it might unfortunately be time to move on from Bobby Portis. Jake and I had some conversations. I gave some specific examples to Jake. I can show you one from the Jazz game that I forgot to bring up just now, but it's rough when we're looking at Bobby Portis defensively. So he misses a 3, and Ajax is going to be screaming at him, or not Ajax. AJ Green is yelling. If you watch the game and you rewatch the clips, like he's yelling Bobby, Bobby, Bobby for John Collins coming across the lane here. He's yelling Bobby, 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 and AJ Green is the one that ends up going to cover John Collins. Like that's rough.
And then you get a couple ball reversals, and then they got bailed out because they missed a shot, but that was good defense by AJ Green, honestly.
Yeah, it was, and I'm gonna mention him a little bit too. But again, this is Bobby Portis. Like, watch the closeout here is the part. So Ajax, good initial defense, and like it's tough because that's yikes. That's really tough to watch closeout. So this is not where you want to be. Like, you're literally showing him the door to the paint.
Yeah.
You have to close out straight on with a high hand. If he shoots the three, he shoots a contested three. It's a much different situation than shooting a wide open floater or a layup.
Yeah, he takes a rhythm dribble and gets a freaking pull up from 15 feet. I mean,
Nice, super easy jumper.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate in and of itself. Looking at the defensive matchups, the Knicks were 6 of 13 against Giannis, only 1 of 6 from the 3-point line, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks were 7 of 11 against Dorian Prince, 9 of 15 against Brook Lopez. Brook did contest 8 of those 15 shots. He had a quarter of the Bucks' total contested shots.
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks were 5 of 8 against Ajax, 5 for 11 against Dame. Dame plays 0 defense, but, his opponents just magically shoot lower percentages than others. 7 of 14 against AJ Green and 3 for 9 against Pat Connaughton. So again, Pat Connaughton's useless, but his opponent's shooting the lowest field goal percentage for this game. Bucks had 32 contested shots, 13 contested threes out of 91 total. I'd like the Bucks to be around 40% for contested shots. It seems to be about 38 contested shots per game is the average in the NBA. The Bucks are right around the middle of the pack. I'd just like to see them get closer to the top third than the middle of the league.
Yeah.
And again, just going to throw this out there. I'm not saying anything like super polarizing. When Adrian Griffin was coaching the Bucks, they were in the 20s in a lot of those statistics.
Mm-hmm.
So middle of the pack is still an improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Last thing we have to talk about, and I'm going to say what I have to say before I use the video evidence, is talking about why Andre Jackson Jr. was benched for the second half. And AJ Green was then inserted into the starting lineup, which is where I will take full credit for what I had in my notes last week about having AJ Green in the starting lineup for Gary Trent Jr., which did become the case.
Mm-hmm.
So, Andre Jackson Jr. had some defensive mistakes, one really bad turnover, and I get wanting the hope of the unknown player or the unknown potential of the younger players, and the flashes are 100% there for Ajax.
Mm-hmm.
But you, as fans, especially of fans who are not wanting to see Pat Connaughton playing and think that Ajax is some savior, there has to be accountability as fans that you cannot just be ignoring inconsistency of young players. You cannot ignore the inconsistencies, and I'm about to show them to you. I don't like that I'm doing this to be like talking poorly about Andre Jackson Jr., but I'm going to tell you this is why Pat Connaughton is getting playing time over Andre Jackson Jr. sometimes. So you can't just overlook the inconsistencies that Ajax has because you don't like Pat Connaughton. Because the thing that Pat Connaughton has on the coaching staff is trust. The coaching staff can trust that Pat Connaughton is going to be in the right place on offense and on defense. So I don't want to do it this way. I would much rather be talking about the affirmative ways to be lifting people up, but I'm going to show you film right now that you cannot overlook these inconsistencies with a guy like Andre Jackson Jr. And I love the potential that he has, but you cannot be blind to these things and just be like, why is Andre Jackson Jr. getting benched? Doc needs to be fired. You have to be able to watch these things objectively.
Because I shared it on my page, bub.
So here we go. Without further ado, this is why Andre Jackson Jr. was benched. So we're going to start defensively. Now, the Knicks, they run kind of a tricky little thing here where they have the double screen. Now, as AJ Green goes with the ball handler, Giannis is on the far outside. Ajax is in the middle. Ajax, you need to stay with the middle guy, correct? Do you agree?
Yeah.
You're in the middle. You stay with the middle offensive player. So as Giannis goes to stay with the outside player as the outside defender, Ajax also goes with the outside defender or the outside offensive player. And being the middle defender leaves the middle player wide open. And Karl Anthony Towns, being an over 50% three-point shooter, gets a wide open three-pointer because Andre Jackson Jr. is not in the right place defensively.
True.
This is example one. So unfortunately, just need to be in the right spot there. Now, again, this is just one of those things where get caught ball watching that Andre Jackson Jr. is watching the ball right now, and Josh Hart is currently sneaking behind him. And Josh Hart gets a tip in. And Ajax needs to be down on the block before Josh Hart gets to the block. Josh Hart beats Ajax to the block, and that's why he gets this tip in. So that's two being in the wrong spot defensively.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have this. I don't know how, even if you are Andre Jackson Jr.'s mom, that you could defend this play. To throw the ball at Giannis's back when Damian Lillard is standing right there, you just can't do that, buddy. And the Knicks scoop this ball up and get a foul on Andre Jackson Jr. So not only does he get the turnover, he also gets a foul on himself. Back to the defense. I love Andre Jackson Jr. He brings a lot of energy. He brings a lot of effort. Just did not bring effort on this play. And it's not an often thing. But if we're talking about why Andre Jackson Jr. got benched at halftime of this game, it's effort on the play like this. So not a great contest, and he's kind of just jogging. So a couple plays defensively, really bad turnover, and a play of not much effort, and that is why Andre Jackson Jr. got benched at halftime of the next game. So again, I didn't want to have to be this guy to be like, here, look at all these things that Andre Jackson Jr. didn't do right, because I'd rather be talking about the things that everybody's doing well. But we have a problem in Bucks fandom right now of people latching on to this player's terrible, so I want the other player no matter what they do poorly, and I'm going to ignore everything they do wrong because I don't like the other one. That shit has to stop. You have to look at everybody objectively. It has to be done. And I love the potential that Andre Jackson Jr. gives. I think he could be a very good rotational player someday, but right now he looks like a second-year player because he is. He looks like a young player because he is. He looks like a guy who has a lot of things to learn because he does. So it has to be objective here. It just has to be objective. So, again, I don't want to have to do another, like, what is this person doing wrong to get benched, so that people just stop saying dumb shit like Andre Jackson Jr. got benched, Doc should be fired. That is why Andre Jackson Jr. got benched at halftime of the next game. So, let's move to the Celtics. What's it up to you from the Celtics game?
First of all, Giannis was cooking. Bucks got off to a really, really good start. Dame was 1 for 8 from the three-point line, and the three-pointer that he made was absolutely disgusting. Just going to say that. It was sick. So where do I even start? So I'll just start with my efficiency stats. So on the drive, the Bucks scored 33 points. 23 of those 33 are from Giannis. He was absolutely cooking Al Horford in this game. Al Horford was doing nothing to stop Giannis in this game. Bobby, he looked 38 in my opinion. Bobby Portis had 4. PC added 2. And then you go to catch and shoot. You got 32 points. AJ Green had 9. Torian Prince had 9. Brook Lopez had 6. Bobby Portis had 5. Dame had 3. He shot 33% on catch and shoot opportunities. Then you go to pull up. We had 19 points in the pull up. Dame with 2. Bobby with 2. PC had 3. He was shooting 100% on those. AJ had 3 points, and Giannis had 9 of another 19 points. So you go to the paint touches, Giannis had 6, and PC had 2. He shot 100% on that. Maybe PC needs to touch the ball a little bit more, in my opinion. Needs to be aggressive. So 2 things. One, the offense lost its rhythm a little bit in the second half. Okay. I think this is a game with Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton, if we have Chris Middleton, this is one of those games where you see how important he is because he can carry the offense when the offense doesn't have rhythm, right? That's the kind of guy that Chris Middleton is. He can
the Celtic killer, yeah.
He could be a guy that can hit a couple shots to keep us above water, keep head above water. Then let Giannis rest for a little bit. Then you let Giannis take over, right? What the hell? Who is Brown? But why is he so soft? I mean, I didn't want to have to do this, but you're really going to be that soft? I mean, there was a dribble. Brown held his ground, and then Giannis was like, okay, now I'm just going to knock you over and show you that I'm very strong. Knocks him over. He does one of these, gives you a fake. That's funny, bro. That's funny. This is a game. Have fun.
Lighten up.
You understand how privileged you are to play this game and get paid the money that you're paid? And, I don't like bringing that up, but that's literally what the reality is.
Yeah.
And the fact of bringing this up is because I saw comments on there because Brown said that Giannis was a child. And I saw hundreds and hundreds of comments. I was just scrolling. At one point, I was just reading like this, like doom scrolling, basically. Then I went like this to see how many comments. Literally, after I did that, there were still people agreeing with Brown, saying that Giannis was a child. So I ended up commenting to somebody, and I said, how about this? You go guard Giannis in the post. We'll find out which one of you motherfuckers is a child. We'll find out real goddamn quick. Your 160-pound ass ain't a man like you think you are. We'll figure out real quick, huh?
I saw somebody agreeing with Jaylen Brown, being like, yeah, Giannis is a child. This is dumb. They need to take this seriously. And it's like, you're right. What a team that's currently under a lot of pressure needs is more tension. At some point, the more tension you put on something, it's going to just snap. Yes, Giannis has, even if you want to call it childish to do the fake handshake thing, seriously, you got to lighten up. We love Giannis because he's goofy. And he will dunk on your entire team. Yeah. That's what makes him a fun person. It's not just sports are here to save your shitty attitude and everybody needs to take this seriously so that your mental health can be better because the Bucks won. Dude, it's not how it works. We'd be happy to discuss with you some better ways to handle that.
Dude, I saw a guy comment saying the Bucks need to learn how to switch so they can start winning some games, man. It's starting to really piss me off. It's like, bro, if your entire day hinges on if the Bucks win, maybe you want to look outside of the Bucks game and see what's wrong with your life, buddy.
We're going to have some really good conversations in the future. And the word that I like is contentment is because as large of a fan as I am to start a podcast with my best friend and talk about them every week, it doesn't bother me when they lose. Yes, I would prefer them to win. I'm going to look for ways that they could.
Yep.
Doesn't bother me.
Nope.
Brett said, boy, LOL, okay, he's having fun. And Giannis said, if I am a child, then so be it. Love it. A child is being dirty like Brown and decking Giannis while in the air. Yeah, that was really grown up of Jaylen Brown to do that, to put 2 forearms into Giannis's underarm.
Really mature from him.
Yeah. Brett, we've had this conversation about Peyton Pritchard. I don't like him, but I respect Peyton Pritchard. I hate saying it.
I can't wait till that fucker leaves.
I hate him, but I respect him because here's the thing. If we had either one of them, I would love them.
Yeah,
but we don't, so I don't. But I respect them.
Yeah. I can't wait for Pritchard to leave and get paid by somebody. Can't wait for Derek White. I can't to leave and get paid. I know he got paid from the Celtics, but eventually they're gonna have to blow that thing up. They're not gonna keep paying these guys. And Al Horford to retire. I mean, Porzingis, he has a long injury history, and he's a big, tall guy. The injuries are gonna catch up to him eventually.
I like Porzingis too.
Enjoy this time while you have it, Celtics, because your day is coming. Just the same way I feel about the 49ers. They're this close to blowing it all up.
Yeah. So going into that, is there other takeaways that you had from Bucks Celtics?
Honestly, it's just so early in the season, and the fact that we lost this game by 6 points, and the offense went cold in the second half. I'm gonna kind of ride the wave where you're talking about. I'm worried about having Chris later in the season. I would worry more if we lost this game the way we did if this was February, not fucking November. It is what it is.
And I texted you at the end of the game, like Taurean Prince started 3 for 3. He had a good look at a 3 at the end of the game. So like, I wasn't mad. I'm like, we had a good look, had a shot to tie it. Like, I trust Taurean Prince to shoot open threes. Like, I wasn't mad about it.
Yeah, it is what it is.
They were 13 of 32. That was 40.6%. That's pretty good considering Dame was 1 for 8. Outside of Dame, they were 12 for 24. That's 50%. That's fantastic. Ajax was 0 for 2 on 3-pointers. What I need at this point of the season is I need Ajax shooting 500 threes every single day from 5 different spots on the floor. That's what I need.
Mm-hmm.
AJ Green was 4 for 6 on threes, and I wrote in my notes after this game to start him. And last night he started, so got that. I will say the Bucks held Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum to 11 for 34 on field goals and 5 for 17 on threes.
Mm-hmm.
So very good job there. I want to give credit to Pat Connaughton for having 13 efficient minutes. He had 7 points, 2 assists, running the pick and roll, the dribble handoff with Giannis really well. And I'm going to come to this too when I get to the Raptors game. 12 turnovers, not terrible. Some of them just came at bad times, like the minute 34, and you're down by 5 in the fourth quarter. But the Celtics only scored 12 points off turnovers, so that's not bad. Giannis, like you said, fantastic games. Looking at it, it's the little things that really stuck out to me in this game. And against a defending champion, you have to do the little things right, like finishing possessions, rebounding strong, rotating and recovering defensively, crashing offensive boards, or getting back on defense. Just got to do the little things to finish possessions. Can't be lazy with the ball. Can't be lazy with shot selection. And Ryan Rollins, you can't leave your feet to pass.
Yeah.
And I will say this game, and as we go into the Raptors game, Ryan Rollins, really good effort defensively.
Yeah.
So Ryan Rollins got to start last night. I got to see his first career start in place of Damian Lillard, who is in concussion protocol, is not going to play tonight for the same reason. I like Ryan Rollins' effort defensively. He had 5 steals, and I like his 3-point shooting. But I will say, having seen it live, Ryan Rollins needs to work on his full court dribbling while being pressured.
Yeah.
He looked really uncomfortable bringing the ball up, being pressured from 3-quarter court.
Yeah, I agree.
He looked really, really uncomfortable, and it led to a couple turnovers. So that's one thing I'd like to see him work on. Other than that, fantastic. Really good 3-point shooting, really good hounding defense. Everything outside of his full court ball handling, great. The Bucks team 3-point shooting was a little rough for AJ Green. He was 4 of 14, but he's got the ultra green light.
He is the green light, bro.
Kyle Korver had the ultra green light, talked about it. AJ Green has the ultra green light. Brook Lopez, unfortunately, was 2 for 10. We just need him hitting like 4 for 10.
Yeah.
If he's around 40%, if he's between 35 and 40%, that's all we need from Brook Lopez. Just enough to make a defender take 2 more steps away from the paint.
Yep.
Bobby Portis was 1 for 7. He's down to 24.3% on 3-point shooting for the season. It's rough because his offense is what redeems him not being good defensively. That's what's redeemed him for the last 4 years as being in Milwaukee.
Yep.
It's tough watching Bobby struggle from 3-point shooting. He was 7 for 10 on 2s, though. You get a couple spots where, he just gets to the back down, and as he's going towards the baseline with the right jump hook, it's butter. And if he catches in a mid-range and he gets a face-up, he gets 1 jab step and a jumper, butter.
Yeah.
There is that. Pat Connaughton was 1 for 5 on 3s. I'm going to take 1 away because he had to throw 1 up at the end of the first quarter. So, yes, still 1 for 4 is not ideal. But, again, throw a little bit of context in there. AJ Green reminds me of the guy in my player on 2K with the brown top and just drill every 3. his jump shot is interesting because like a lot of guys will shoot from like basically their face. AJ Green is up here. He can see the rim the whole time. And I made a graphic of it. I should share it again of AJ Green basically having a right-handed Michael Redd release.
Yeah, I should have reminded you the other day when it was the anniversary of Michael Redd's 57th game.
I'll still share it again. I'll find it and I'll share it again.
Yeah.
The team as a total, 16 of 56 on threes. They were able to win a game while shooting poorly on three-pointers. When it happens, and it will happen, the law of large numbers, this is how it works. The Bucks are going to have a stretch of games where they go nuclear from three-point line, and they're going to score 130 points, 4 out of 5 games at some point this season.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be awesome, and they're going to shoot 53s, and they're going to make 30 and break the NBA record. Something like that is all within the realm of possibility
here.
Yeah. Brett, my last takeaway after turnovers is going to be on that subject of Pat Connaughton hustle dictating the offense. You are very, very close to something that I'm going to say. Last 2 things. 1, turnovers. 16 is not ideal. It's not horrible, but it only led to 16 points off turnovers, so I'll take that. And the last thing here, flashes. There were possessions on both sides of the ball where I can see the scheme working. And yes, it's the Raptors, but we are in the 11th game of the year in new schemes offensively and defensively with several new role players involved. There were points last night on offense where the ball was moving really quickly from the break line to the break line on the 3-point line, and some dribble handoff stuff, and it created some mismatches. And when they add a screen from a guy like Bobby or Giannis or Brook Lopez, it creates some driving lanes, which obviously we've seen Damian Lillard take advantage of. It opens up some kicks to the corner. Pat Connaughton is a guy, like Brett just said, helping dictate the offense. Pat Connaughton is a guy, when he gets a screen at the very top of the key, at the top of the 3-point line, he's not coming off looking to shoot. He's coming off looking to drive. So I really like that from Pat Connaughton. He is helping initiate offense like that by coming off of a screen at the top of the 3-point line. We've seen him get some layups out of it. And we've seen him get some kickouts to guys in the corner like AJ Green, like Taurean Prince, like Gary Trent Jr. going to have a redemption game, like Brett said. Wright made some good defensive reads, which is absolutely true. And if DeLon Wright can knock down some open threes as well, like I said, when the Badgers, I keep looking at Badgers behind your head and then reading Badgers. The Bucks have their game where the law of large numbers is all right, here we go. We got to even this out. It's going to be awesome, and the Bucks are going to fill it up.
Yep,
defensively, they're doing a lot of switching. I like the effort of guys like AJ Green. Pat Connaughton has been asked to consistently defend guys bigger than him. Like last night, he was defending Chris Boucher. And his minutes show, like I said, during the last game, that the coaches trust him. And then looking at Ryan Rollins and DeLon Wright, they were both hounding Toronto's ball handlers. Yes, they didn't have Emmanuel quickly, but they had 5 steals each. And DeLon Wright did a really good job of playing the passing lanes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of baiting guys into passes by being close and then kind of stepping away and then intercepting passes. I liked what I saw from DeLon Wright. So those are all my notes from being in attendance. I will say the blue court is very blue, but honestly, the more I thought about it, sure, an all green court is possible. But they're not going to do all cream because that's just wood. And they're not going to do black because the NBA Cup is black, and then you would just see nothing. You would see just the prongs of it, and you wouldn't actually see the NBA Cup. So the blue is what it is. That's just kind of the color that they have available, unless they do an all green court, which I don't know how that's going to look.
That's what the Celtics is all green.
Yeah, and they have
I looked at all the courts last night. I think they wanted to cover all the colors on the spectrum because there's only one green court, and it's the Celtics, and their literal slogan is bleed green, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. What did you see from last night? And then we'll get everybody out of here so we can go watch the Bucks.
Yeah. So first of all, for the Bucks to only allow 85 points, yeah, sign me up for that. I don't give a shit that we didn't score 100 either. We only scored 99. We played some garbage time buckets with the young guys at the end. We were without 2 of our 3 best players. I think people were forgetting that last night.
Yep.
So to only allow 85, love it. The defense was freaking swarming. They were going everywhere. Ryan Rollins looked impressive. DeLon Wright looked absolutely phenomenal on the defensive end. If he starts making 1 or 2 threes a game, he's going to be an absolute fucking problem, dude.
Yep.
What's up, man? Have a good night, Brett. In terms of drive scoring, Giannis had 10 of the 14. Brook Lopez had 3, and Pat Connaughton had 1 point. The way that works, in my opinion, is they get fouled when they drive to the rim, and then he made 1 free throw. Catch and shoot. The Bucks had 47 goddamn points off catch and shoot. 47. That is going to be probably a record they're going to hold for a while until they go nuclear. AJ Green and Ryan Rollins had 12 apiece. Torian Prince with 9. Brook Lopez with 6. PC Tyler Smith, very nice looking jumper. I would like him to get a little bit more run, in my opinion. He's probably a little rough on defense, but I mean, we're paying a guy wearing number 9 that's a little bit rough on defense. Bobby Portis with 2 points on catch and shoots. Pull-up game, we had 7. Bobby had 5. Brook Lopez had 2. And in the paint, Bobby Portis had 6. Lopez with 4. Giannis PC with 2. So, I mean, honestly, from this game, you look at the bench. The bench had 13 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. We were very decimated on the bench because a lot of our bench guys were in the starting lineup for this game. So you can't really take too much into it. But in total, I lied. I always write Bobby Portis' stats separate. In total, the bench scored 30 points, 19 rebounds, and 7 assists. They went 13 to 34 from the field and 3 of 18 from 3. I'm going to piggyback off your thing about three-pointers real quick. We shot 31 more goddamn threes than them, dude. 31!
Bro, just an average 9 to 3-point shooting. If they make out of 56, if they make 40-ish% and they make about 25 threes, you're talking about adding 27 points. That's 126 without Damian Lillard and Chris Middleton.
Yeah, that's nuts. So, at the end of the day, I was happy with this win. The Pistons are coming up a hard-fought win at home over the Heat. They're exhausted. They're missing a lot of guys. I feel bad for Tim Hardaway Jr. He got absolutely demolished on one play where he got hit in the face. He got up and then he got hit in the face again. So I'm hoping that he's okay. But other than that, let's go get a dub tonight.
Yeah. So looking at it, the Bucks play tonight against the Pistons. They play Saturday at the Hornets, so they have 3 games off. So hopefully the Dame is back for that game. Yep. And then they play next Monday against the Rockets. I just pulled up the injury report for tonight. Damian Lillard is out. Middleton is obviously out. Ryan Rollins sounds like is not playing. So keep your eyes peeled. We might be seeing a pretty decent amount of AJ Johnson tonight. DeLon Wright will probably be the starter, and AJ Johnson might be the backup point guard tonight. So keep an eye out for that.
All right.
Other than that, we will be back next week, Tuesday, with the Bears recap, and then next Wednesday with everything else. So we will see you guys then. Thanks for sticking around for a longer show this week with the 3 teams going on. We'll try to make sure we can keep these streamlined so we're not, sucking up too much time, and making sure that we give everybody our thoughts in a timely fashion. Other than that, Jake, I will see you next week, Tuesday, and everybody, thanks for tuning in. We will see you guys next week.